Comes to talk. Welcome. We have a lot to cover today. Oh boy. Some news dropped this afternoon, and I'll be talking about what that news is and what it means and what it doesn't mean and why we're talking about it and everything else. So just bear with me. As I want to set up here, and then we'll get. I will be, if you want to call in, I will put the phone number in the live chat. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Oh, yes. We got all of the update. Caroline Leavitt was talking about it in the White House press briefing today. I'll get to that too. Welcome, everyone. Yes, we are going to cover all the new news. Now, I'm putting the link to my main stream in the description. That's where you'll see and hear all the audio and video that I'm going to play. And I pinned the call-in number in the live chat. The call-in number in the... Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to start the main stream here in just a second. That's where you'll see and hear all the audio and video that I'm going to share. Okay, guys? Welcome. There we go. Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about this afternoon. A bunch of stuff dropped involving Jeffrey Epstein. I'm going to cover all of that. Caroline Leavitt talked about it in the White House briefing, and I'm going to go through all the latest news. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live stream. I'm going to go through this story that is in the New York Post, and then I'll tell you what's going on, my thoughts on it, my take on it. But let's just go through this story that just dropped in the New York Post this afternoon so we can all be on the same page with the latest of what's going on. Here's the headline: New York Post today at 2:48 p.m. This story dropped. Epstein emails with ex-Obama lawyer claim he stopped talking to Bill Clinton. New York Post writes, pedophile Jeffrey Epstein ended his friendship with Bill Clinton because he believed the former president was a liar. According to new emails, the disgraced financier's estate handed over to Congress on Wednesday. The emails obtained by the House Oversight Committee show that Catherine Ruemmler, a former White House counsel to President Barack Obama, had a chummy relationship with Epstein. Oh. Really? So, Barack Obama's lawyer said that he had a chummy relationship with Epstein. I haven't heard that before. That's some news. And the two, meaning Jeffrey Epstein and Barack Obama, and the two frequently discussed politics in the lead up to the 2016 election. What? In a January 23rd, 2016 email, Jeffrey Epstein revealed that he broke off contact with Bill Clinton after he swore with wholehearted conviction to me that he had done something. He had forgotten that he also swore the exact opposite to me weeks before. This is the New York Post. Who knows what they were talking about? A Clinton spokesperson responded in a statement. What we do know, and have always said, is that President Clinton knew nothing about Epstein's heinous crimes and hadn't spoken to him in 20 years. Now here it is in black and white. Ruemmler, this is the lawyer for Obama, White House counsel with Obama. Ruemmler and Epstein had been discussing another person named Mac Giver earlier in the email thread, and sources familiar with the exchange indicated that rumors comments only referred to that individual. I will say I told you so, not to sound overly dramatic, but he is very close to being a psychopath, rumor had said earlier in the exchange of the mysterious individual. He has no conscience. It's scary. He obviously said something to you yesterday that was disturbing and you don't want to tell me. Just tell me. I can take it. I promised, added Rumler of the person who was once listed as a backup executor to Epstein's estate. But it's unclear how long the two remained at odds, as Clinton was mentioned in other emails in the trove of more than 20,000 documents. Let's do a Men of the World conference. Theoretical physicist Lawrence Krauss said in an April 5th, 2018 email to Jeffrey Epstein, sending a proposed invite list that included Bill Clinton, actor Kevin Spacey, former Senator Al Franken, and director Woody Allen. All had faced some form of sexual misconduct allegations in the preceding years, and Trump was slammed for statements downplaying sexual assault in a leaked Access Hollywood tape just weeks before the election. 3 days after the report, photographer and artist Andre Serrano wrote to Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey was prepared to vote against Trump for all the right reasons, but I'm so disgusted by the outrage over grab them by the P that I may give him my sympathy vote. I'm sure Bill Clinton said things too. No good choice, Epstein responded in the October 10th, 2016 email. The record shed light on Epstein's close associates before and after Donald Trump's defeat of Hillary Clinton. Reps for Rumler, that's the Obama lawyer, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So what's the big deal here? Why are they making such a big deal? So I did not know that Barack Obama had such a, what was the word they used? A chummy relationship with Epstein. Did you guys know this? That's news to me today. I think it's news to a lot of you too. Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. And that he wasn't voting for Donald Trump. Doesn't sound like something a good friend would do, not vote for them. Oh my goodness. This is not really what you guys wanted. You know, these Epstein stories, they drop at certain particular times, okay? And they tend to drop when something is about to happen to the deep state. I mean, look at this. We got Brennan, who's been on MSNBC in a panic. Many believe Brennan, the indictment is coming soon, as well as Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. And we got Comey. The last time the Epstein stuff hit the news like this is when Comey's indictment was coming. Anytime, and so what does this tell you? Anytime these deep state actors are in panic mode and facing indictment, and they know because many of them and their friends, maybe even themselves, have been called to testify to these grand juries, right? So they know what's going on more than we do because they're involved in these grand juries and friends and associates of theirs are. And every time there's an indictment about to come down on one of these deep state figures, there's these huge media dumps about Jeffrey Epstein. So what does that tell you? That these stories are timed to divert away from these indictments and maybe even try to scare people, but they're panic moves. And I saw this. Oh my gosh, they updated it. Look at this. Here's Mediaite. Now, Mediaite's pretty left-wing, but I go there every day. Mediaite is one of the stops I do every day in my show prep before I go on the air. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, just at the top, 5 stories involving Trump and Epstein. I just read through the story. We've got a relationship with Obama and Epstein, a relationship with Obama's lawyer and Epstein, right? Epstein saying he's not going to vote for Trump, but it's all about Trump and Epstein, as if what came out. I mean, look at this is in Mediaite. Just in, Trump called Boebert amid pressure campaign on Epstein vote. That's one story. Levitt pressured on report Trump administration trying to flip Boebert on Epstein files. Here's another one. This is just Mediaite, just alone. They're all excited over there. GOP releases stunning Epstein email about Trump. I know how dirty Donald is. Here's another one. Jeffrey Epstein was told he could finish Trump with dirt in 2016. Here's another one. Trump seethes over latest wild turn in Jeffrey Epstein hoax. You know, media is pretty liberal, but look at how excited they are over this. Oh, here's more. So we got 5, 6, 7 stories right now. This story just broke in the last hour. And media right now has 7 stories about Epstein. Here's a 6th one. Trump officials huddling ahead of potential vote on Epstein files. Here's another one. Caroline Leavitt insists shocking Epstein emails prove Trump did nothing wrong. Yeah, come on. All of a sudden, out of the blue, a guy who's been dead for 6 years, his sicko operation shut down even longer. See, I'm of the opinion, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't think that I am. But I'll say it. I am of the opinion that MAGA people don't care about any of these Epstein stories. Real MAGA people. Now, I know there's a lot of fake MAGA who'll claim, oh yeah, I voted for, but this. I'm talking about real MAGA people. Do you guys agree with me on that? Those of you who are MAGA, do you believe that MAGA people care or don't care about these Epstein stories? And by the way, when I say that I don't care, this is not my thing, never was. And, you know, the Jeffrey Epstein story, I knew about it before most of you did, because his first run-in with law enforcement was with the local Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office here in South Florida. He was in the news and in court. I can't remember how long. It was like every day, the front page of all of our South Florida newspapers for years were Jeffrey Epstein before it became a national story. It was in the local news constantly. And I remember Steve and I were like, are you kidding me? This is just so ridiculous. Who cares? They've blown it into this big thing. And when I say that MAGA people, real MAGA people, not people saying they're MAGA and are not fake MAGA, when I say that MAGA people don't care about the Epstein story, I don't mean that they're excusing it, like they believe all this nonsense that these liberals and fake news and Trump haters try to push with it and don't care and ignore it because they care about the greater good of making America great again. What I mean is, MAGA people, I believe, don't care about the story and don't believe Trump did anything wrong. MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, I don't know, been a month or two now, it seems, in a fit of little anger with a reporter in the halls of Congress, dropped classified information that had never been reported before. And then we got some confirmation about it, one from Epstein's lawyers, but Mike Johnson was being questioned by a reporter when he was walking from one place to another in the Capitol building, and he was a little aggravated, and he lost his cool, which is pretty unusual for Mike Johnson. And Mike Johnson said that President Trump was an FBI informant on the Epstein matter. Oh, really? So what we found out from Epstein's, after that, a dialogue began, and then Mike Johnson walked that back a day or two later, but it's true. He said it, and it's either classified information or the president doesn't want it to be known. Maybe he doesn't want to be known as a snitch. Like, if he needs people to trust him when he's having confidential conversations. So, even though he'd be an informant on a creep, maybe he doesn't want people to know that he's been an informant. Maybe he's been an informant on other things. I don't know. But he was an informant working with the FBI on Epstein. But we found out from Epstein's lawyer that when President Trump found out about Jeffrey Epstein and what he was all about, we've heard the story for years that he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. That was it. He was kicked out of Mar-a-Lago. But what we found out from Epstein's lawyer after that was that President Trump went to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and reported Jeffrey Epstein. And he was part of the sting at the Sheriff's Department level, and then went on to be a part of it with the FBI later. We later found out, thanks to MAGA Mike Johnson. So that's that. And I think rational, reasonable people No one. President Trump didn't do any of these terrible things that these leftists are always trying to promote. As soon as he found out what Epstein was about, he dropped him and got rid of him, had no contact with him. And he did nothing wrong. And I think most MAGA people who know about this informant stuff do believe that President Trump turned him into the local police in Palm Beach County Sheriff, and was working undercover with the FBI. Right? You know, that's what I believe is the MAGA opinion. Now, the people that hate Trump, this guy can do nothing right? I mean, he's giving $2,000 to all middle and low income people, right, as that dividend from the tariffs. And they're trying to tell us that that's a bad thing, right? So the Trump haters, there is nothing that Trump can say or do that they'll approve of. And when there's a story like this out here, they're going to do everything they can to smear him, to try to soil his reputation. And they just don't get it. You know, all the things they've done over the years to President Trump has done nothing but make him stronger and more popular. That's why they shot him in Butler and then try to do it again at the golf course, because all these, you know, the E. Jean Carroll, the arrest, all these things, people saw what it was, right? It was lawfare. People circled the wagon around President Trump, and his support grew and grew and grew, especially after Butler. So no, none of these negative things that people are saying about President Trump with Epstein are true. The major new information we got was about how close he was to Barack Obama and his senior staff, his lawyer. So Caroline Leavitt was asked about this at the White House press briefing, and I want to get to that. But first, we're going to take a quick break, all right? We'll take a quick break, and then we will get back to all of that. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. So we're covering the latest information that's dropped this afternoon about Jeffrey Epstein. So Caroline Leavitt, if you'd like to call in, you're welcome to. The number's pinned in the live chat if you're watching live. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I'd like to hear from some MAGA people out there. Do you care about the Epstein case at all? And do you believe it? Right? I believe, as I said earlier, that real MAGA people, not these fake MAGA saying they're MAGA, Real MAGA people don't care and don't believe it. Well, so far as Trump having anything to do with it, right? Not at all. All right, the number 888-465-2631. So Caroline Leavitt, of course, was asked about this at the White House briefing. We're press very excited about it. So let's see what happened. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to some other topics. So, great. What Caroline Leavitt here did is amazing. Yeah, she brought up, I'd forgotten about this, that Trump tried to release the grand jury info and the judge wouldn't let. She didn't have to have this press conference today. This information dropped before the press conference. And if you're on hold, stand by. I'll get to the phones in a moment. When I go to the phones, could you guys have some constructive conversation? None of this, oh, why are you supporting a pedophile? Instead of just saying pedophile a whole bunch of times, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the issue in the news and everything I brought up. I'd like to hear some thoughtful discussion from both sides, by the way, on the Epstein matter. When Bill Clinton had the Monica Lewinsky scandal, Mike McCurry was the White House press secretary then. He's still around, Mike McCurry, if you look him up. He is on that committee that handles the presidential debates now. But Mike McCurry was Bill Clinton's White House press spokesperson. He had Caroline Leavitt's job. And they didn't have a press conference for over a year. And I remember there was breaking news this one midday. There was going to be a White House press conference. First one in over a year. And Mike McCurry came out with some minor things, maybe something about naming a post office or something. And I remember after his mild, stupid announcements, he made a joke. He says, to our network affiliates, we now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. And then he laughed and walked out. They didn't have a press conference for over a year. Why? Because they had something to hide. President Trump's having press conferences all the time. And you know what? He'll be in the Oval Office this week, or at Mar-a-Lago, or on Air Force One, and he'll talk to the press like he always does. And he'll take questions on this, and they'll ask him about it. That transparency, the White House willing to answer questions as soon as these things come out. Even those of you that don't support Trump for whatever strange reason that I can't comprehend, you got to give him props for that, don't you? All right, let's take some calls. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike.
You know, the Democrats just don't get it. They don't get... Trump is probably saving them from themselves and not releasing this information.
Yeah, really.
You know, the Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, my feeling is if he released it unredacted, it would probably burn Washington to the ground.
Well, President Trump said, Mike, if you remember, it was a few weeks back. Are you with me, Mike? Yeah, hold on. Let me see here. Yeah, you know, if you remember, Mike, you back there?
Yeah, I'm here.
If you remember, a couple months back, President Trump said that the previous administration were using the Epstein files as blackmail material on people, and they just put stuff and put it in those files that had nothing to do with it. That the files are so inaccurate that it would do damage to people that never had any contact with the guy.
Right, and that's the thing. They really don't know. They don't care to know what's exactly in the files, even though some of them might know it. They don't care. They think if anything can hurt President Trump, they want it out there.
That's right. Correct.
That's all. That's all they want to do is hurt President Trump. They cannot see past a TDS.
That's right, Trump derangement syndrome. All right, Mike, appreciate the call. Made some good points. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah. You know, we have the most transparent president the world will ever see.
Hold on, Sean. Let me answer these other lines coming in. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Very transparent.
And, you know, and it's amazing what the Democrats and the people that don't, for whatever reason, Republicans that don't follow him, they don't, with him, they'll just can't understand. I just don't, it's beyond me. Mm-hmm. And we're getting to see a man who gets right up there, and everything's transparent, everything's up front, and he's, this is just a distraction from the Democrat after the government. They don't want to talk about the government opening again. This is just that they go to the next phase of their plan, whatever the hell that is. Mm-hmm. And what they do is that's all they do. It's a distraction. Look over here. Trump just made a huge victory. He broke Chuck Schumer in half. Yeah. He broke the Democrats completely in half.
Absolutely.
There's no coming back from this.
Absolutely.
And so obviously what they're going to do, and what they're going to do is absolutely they're going to go back to right where they were going to, left off basically. Mm-hmm. They're going back to the little tactics. It's not going to go anywhere. These little tricks don't work on this man.
So you think these things came out now because the Democrats just were creamed and the government shut down, and Schumer and his friends are acting out?
Yeah, I think this is just a hissy fit. And it's not going to last, because the American public is not going to sit there and put too much stock. After what's been going on in the news over the last several weeks, I don't think they're going to sit there. This has been done over and over. How many times are they going to keep doing this? I mean, there's nothing there in the files. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And, the one woman that could defend her own name, she's passed away. So, and her memory, she even said it herself, and imagine if she were here today, she'd be saying it.
Yeah.
It's just a travesty that's all they have because they don't have policy. They're not going anywhere.
And if you remember, a few weeks back, they had all those Epstein victims in Washington, And the NBC or CNN, I can't remember. It was either NBC or CNN asked them all if they saw Trump in any inappropriate way. They all said no.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
He's a gentleman. Yeah, yeah, he's a class act, and and you know what? Yeah, as soon as he found out about Epstein, he said, "That's it, you're gone. I'm getting you out of Mar-a-Lago now. You don't come around here at all."
Someone in Trump orbit. Maybe you remember who this was, because this was not that long ago. I can't. It was one of the senior Trump people. I can't remember which one. They said that what Epstein was doing, because I always wondered how he got so rich. I mean, we knew he was like in the stock market and all that stuff, but I never understood how he became a billionaire. And what one of the top Trump people said, this was in the last couple of months, that what he would do is he always had this pedo thing going on, right? So he would get these rich guys, he would get them hooked up with some underage girl, get it on tape, and then blackmail them that they would have to dump money into his fund, or he would rat them out to their wife or whatever. Yep. And that's how he made his money.
It's funny you were just going to say that. I was just going to say that. Yeah, that's what you go right where I was thinking. I mean, he did. I think that's where he got a lot of his money. And he would bait him in. There were cameras in every room. It's much like what P. Diddy did. You know, they put cameras in every room, and everything was secret. And that's exactly what he did. And hightail clients coming in. And he did that. He lured him in with whatever young girls or whatever else. It was just horrible. The whole thing is just absolutely disgusting. To be able to just do it, but him doing that is disgusting in itself. But these people, they all deserve each other, and it's disgusting. I think you're right. I think that a lot of that money was not made in the stocks. He made some money.
Yeah, I can't. If anybody remembers who said that in the Trump orbit, it was a senior. It wasn't a cabinet official. I can almost see them. It was on television. I just can't remember who. It was not a cabinet official, but it was one of his senior representatives or aides.
Wait a minute. Was this in the last administration?
No, it was in the last couple of months.
Oh, the last couple of months. That's right. If we know who it is, I'm sure you know the name. But just think of the name of the person.
I just can't remember which one said. I watch so much news sometimes. I said, I'm not interested in the Epstein story. In fact, this may be. I can't swear to this, but this may be the only time where I have Epstein's name in the thumbnail and the title of a video. Maybe not, but I don't remember doing it. It's just not my. It has nothing to do with Trump, other than he helped bring him to justice, right? And it's just, I just don't care for the story. I don't think it's relevant to Trump. I think it's something they put out there when they're trying to wound him.
Yeah, right. Is Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be free? I heard something about that. Is that actually going to happen? Is she going to be set?
No. Why would Trump pardon her? That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I heard something about. I'm like, that can't be true.
They moved her to another facility. I don't know why she was moved.
I mean, I wouldn't curtail. I wouldn't go to her demands. I mean, look, this woman did so much of the legwork for him. I mean, she's part of the engine, and it's just this. And she's unless we need to get information and find a way to get information from her without giving her anything. And I'm sure Trump can find a way to do that. Yeah, because this is this. Too many children, too many little girls, young girls. Everybody's been hurt by these monsters, and it's time. And like Mike just said, if this gets out, this will burn Washington to the ground.
Everybody's anybody that's a decent, MAGA people are disgusted by Epstein. We just don't. It just didn't have anything to do with the president.
No, he never really did have to do. You know what? He never wanted to because he knew the character of Trump was. I don't think that Epstein would ever cozy up to Trump because he knew the character of Trump, even back in those days in the 90s and everything. Because Trump's a man of moral character, and that guy does not have a good sense of it.
I did a couple years ago. I take that back. I did a video in Palm Beach where I was driving around Palm Beach looking at all the famous political people's houses. Not just Trump's, but Dr. Oz has a house there. Julian, all of them. And I went by and I showed Epstein's house. They tore down the house and rebuilt it, and I took my MAGA scooter there, and I was filming on the street in front of Epstein's house, and I was talking about it. It felt evil. The whole street felt evil. It was really creepy to be on the street.
I mean, you can smell it in the air. Yeah.
I mean,
Speaking of your videos too. Speaking of your videos, I love that video when you went to the university, that hotel that you went to. That's really awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, you mean on my other YouTube channel?
The retro one. The 70s style one you just went to.
Yeah, the Cabana Bay at Universal Studios Orlando.
That's very cool. I like that. That's definitely. I love the retro stuff too. That's really great.
It reminded me
like
when
a
I
lot
was
of
a
fun.
kid. That's what all the hotels in Florida looked like when I first started coming here as a kid, because it was the 70s, you know.
It brings you back. So that's really good.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say that to you.
I told you guys that Halloween
awesome.
Horror Nights is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, good to hear from you.
A lot of people love that. Thank you, Brian.
Take care. Yeah, I do that with my daughter pretty much every year. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida and you need a new roof on any type of property, residential, commercial, municipal, call Tom Laporta. Tom Laporta is a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. He works with every type of roofing material on any type of structure, and he can handle a job of any size, no matter how small or large. If it's a small home or a single office building or an apartment building, office building, he can handle that. But if it's an HOA with over 450 units, he can handle that too. He also has the Mar-a-Lago roof tiles, which are very special, unique tiles. So if you want to have a Trump roof, call him. Tell him you want that Trump roof. He's got the tiles. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. You can call or text 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, and online, LaportaRoofing.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jody, Illinois.
Hey, Jody in Illinois. What's on your mind?
Hey, well, first of all, I want to tell you, it was so funny this morning that you embarrassed that guy.
Which one?
I think it was the one where you were talking about the children.
Oh, did I lose you?
Hello?
Yeah, okay, I lost you for a second.
I'm sorry. You were embarrassing. You said it was fun.
Oh, the one where Trump found 101 missing children in Memphis, and he didn't. Where's your source? That guy? Yeah, what an idiot.
Yeah, that was really funny this morning.
And I got to tell you, I was not feeling well this morning. I don't know if you guys could tell. I was really not feeling well. I almost didn't do the show at the last minute. I was not feeling well. So I was on about 10% of my normal powers and strength, and I filleted that guy. Can you imagine if I was feeling well this morning? Oh my goodness.
And to answer your question, myself and my siblings were ultra MAGA, and we don't really care about the Epstein stuff. We really concentrate on the economy and war for ICE and everything. So we really think this is kind of like a sideshow to get the liberals and the Democrats all up in arms to act stupid with.
Well, let me ask you, when you say you and your MAGA family don't care about Epstein, do you believe that Trump had something to do with it or not? Do you believe it? Okay, so so you don't care about it, and you don't believe what they say about him and Epstein.
No.
Yeah. So
and I agree. A majority of the ultra MAGA think this is just nonsense, because this is the thing: is if he was in 2016. With all the swamp that was there when he got there, they would have brought that up then. Why all of a sudden now it's a bad thing?
Everything they did to try to stop President Trump in 3 presidential campaigns. Remember, he's run 3 times. They would have come out with this. They didn't sit on some files that showed that he had something to do with a pedophile. With all this other, they wouldn't have had to do all this other stuff. If that was true and it was in the files, they would have released everything, and that would have been it.
Yeah, and then the thing was that, Todd Blanche even said that Trump even said, hey, I could talk to you and give you all the time you wanted. It was what? It was
exactly.
I don't know what year. Yeah, so, we don't care.
I mean, they were so desperate, they broke into his house fishing for information. If they would have had, if this Epstein stuff was true, it would have been out years ago to stop him.
Exactly. Well, I love your show.
Well, thank you.
I love your show.
Well, appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right. Yeah, if you're new to the program, make sure you subscribe. All right. This is where MAGA comes to talk. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Back from Buffalo. How you doing?
Hey, all right, Buffalo. What's on your mind?
Don't hold so long. I forgot your topic, but
We're talking about the latest release involving Epstein.
Oh, gotcha. Really concerning, I guess, with how they're trying to cover it up, I would say.
Who's trying to cover up what?
Like, politicians. I would say it's like 60-40 in favor of releasing it. Some days, and then it's 40-60 the other way. So, maybe there's some.
Do
external
you think that if there was something in these files that was damaging to Trump, that these Trump haters would have leaked it out years ago, though, to stop him from coming back to the White House?
I don't think it's Trump, though. I think it's more of the elected officials that are
the mainstream establishment politicians. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I think there was a leak, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks ago that Epstein was a official in an Israeli conflict a few years back.
That's one of the things they say.
A deal, so you never know. So if any conspiracy exists, I would say it's just. I mean, they've been up the ass of this Israeli government for as long as Trump has been.
So you think the cover up is from the long-term establishment politicians, the Trump haters?
No, I would say even his GOP
His
lovers,
what?
If they have a stake in this, they're fighting for it as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, his son-in-law was Jewish.
He still is Jewish.
He married Ivanka in. He converted her. It's
true.
I think.
Well, you know why they do that. You know why Jared Kushner? Yes, he's still Jewish. You know why Ivanka, when they got married, you know why she converted to Judaism?
To take on, I imagine, take on his name and his existing
in the Jewish religion, in Judaism, for the children to be Jewish, the mother has to be a Jew. So if she didn't become a Jew, the kids would not be Jews. So a lot of times when a wife is not Jewish and she marries a Jew, she converts. It doesn't mean that she's denying Christ or something, or that she's even really Jewish. You know, it's just so that the kids are Jewish for the husband and his family.
Just for the namesake. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because if the mother doesn't convert, they're not Jews.
Gotcha. So they're establishing the line, continuing down.
Yes.
I gotcha. I don't know. It's all kind of sus to me how big of a hand is not even Israel, but just Judaism has in the existing government establishment. Not even Trump, just going years back. I guess we'll wait to see.
You think there's too much Jewish influence over the American government? Is that what you're saying?
As of right now, that's how it seems.
What has the Jewish influence gotten President Trump to do that he otherwise would not have done?
I would say fund. Their fight in Gaza, for sure.
Okay. Well, that was happening before. Before Trump came back, the United States was funding the Israeli effort in Gaza when Biden was president.
Absolutely, it was. Yes. Yeah. I'm not denying that at all, but it just seems there's been an uptick in citizens I guess,
Yeah.
reflecting Israeli policies back on anybody that tries to say free Palestine, fuck.
Well, why would you want to? Why would you?
Or anything like that?
Why would you be saying free Palestine? Remember, they went into that music festival in Israel and did horrendous things to civilians. I mean, it was barbaric.
I understand the October. I understand the backlash on October 7th. I absolutely understand that, but
why would you want to free those?
This has been an ongoing issue since World War II.
It'll be going on. It'll never end. There's always going to be a conflict.
It'll never end. Exactly. Yeah. It will never end. It is Palestine standing their ground, Israeli pushing forward, Palestine fighting back, Israeli saying, "Oh, they're attacking us." Israeli pushing forward, Palestine. It's like Israeli is pushing forward. Anytime Palestine fights back, it's a war.
Yeah.
Then there's a standoff, and then Palestine lays off, and they're
going to be fighting each other. They're going to be fighting and killing each other forever.
Exactly.
There's never going to be an end to it. It's just a matter of how long between fighting there'll be, and hopefully it's longer the better, so people don't die.
I guess it comes back to British colonialism, where they're drawing borders where they shouldn't be.
Well, the European, all this Middle Eastern stuff. I didn't agree with much of anything you said, but that's okay. We don't have to. It's America until the end.
Sure.
About the colonialism. All these Muslim countries, all of them, are fake countries that were created after the First World War, right? All the European colonial nations pulled out of the Middle East and set up the Saudi royal family and set up all these countries. And they just drew the Europeans just drew these lines up and made these countries and set up these fake royal families and everything. So that's why there's so much conflict over there. You know, it's messed up. It's messed up. That's what, and that's what ISIS what ISIS was saying is, we don't recognize any of these countries because they were set up by Europe, not Middle Eastern people, not Muslims. And that's what they were. Yeah. No, so you're right about that. The European colonialism in the Middle East is what started all this after the First World War.
Not even in the Middle East. I mean, it was a problem in Africa, too. That's why there was the Sudanese Civil War.
Yep. Well, listen, I want to move on, but I appreciate the call. But call me again sometime on another show. Okay, it's one call per show.
Sure.
You're new. You're welcome. Make sure you subscribe. All right.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Nice little conversation there. Don't agree on a lot, but that's okay. I want to talk, before we go back to the phones, I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton, who has just changed my life. He's just changed my life. I was just texting with Dr. Appleton right before the program. He had given me he was the first person to give me a 2026 calendar. He gave me this really cool calendar with hot air balloons in it. And I was just texting him about it right before the show today. It's a beautiful calendar. The 7 times he's rid me of pain, the pains I was suffering from were so bad. Some of the pains were so bad that I would just want to go to sleep. Some of the pains, he's rid me of pain 7 times. Some of the pains were so bad, I would almost cry. Some of the pain was so bad that I had, prior to Dr. Appleton ridding me of it with his robotic laser away pain treatment, I used to have like a martini or two late in the day because I was in so much pain so I could go to sleep. And I remember I would walk. I was talking to the earlier caller about going to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios in Orlando. This was the first Halloween Horror Nights I went to in a few years. And it was the first time I went since Dr. Appleton rid me of pain in my knee. And I didn't think about it until after I left. But I was getting around and walking around better than I ever had before because I was pain-free. And he rid me of pain the first time in my knee over 3 years ago. All 7 times he's treated me, not only did he rid me of pain, but the pains have not returned. So if you're in pain, no matter what kind of pain you have, go see Dr. Appleton. We've had listeners travel from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. Appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. His number is 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lou from New York.
Hey, what's up, New York?
Hey, the one thing I wanted to say is that...
Can you speak up a little bit? You're a little low.
That they need to free Palestine from, what do you call it, Islam, and from Hamas.
Uh-huh.
And definitely, we got the right president in office.
That's right. We have the right president in office. Absolutely. Yes. I agree with everything you said.
You know.
Is that it?
Let's go. You can hear me.
I can hear you. You're a little low, but I can hear you.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me step out.
Okay. We'll hold on. I don't know what he's doing, but we'll hold on.
All right. You can hear me now?
I can hear you, yeah.
All right. Now that we need to actually free Palestine from Islam and Hamas, which is just destroying that country and the people in their false ideology.
Yep.
And definitely, I feel that our president is taking things in the right direction. Because other politicians were afraid to do the things that he has done. And to be someone that's in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on because we got a bad connection. But everything that I've heard you say, I agree with. All right, so take care. Thanks for the call. It makes a lot of sense. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Madison calling from California. How are you today?
All right, Madison. What's up?
Okay, so I want to make a comment on the Epstein. First of all, I don't think that Trump had any involvement at all. I think that they would have pulled this out years ago. They would have given up, the deep state would have given up some of themselves.
Absolutely.
To try to bring him down. So no, but I am going to go down a rabbit hole a little bit here because remember when Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, when they had their own podcasts and before they got appointed to the administration and they were talking about going after the Epstein files. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and then when they got sworn in, they got in their positions, they went on Maria Bartiromo, and they were frozen. They were asked about it, and we could tell they were lying because it's hard for good men to lie. We knew that there was something off with that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it goes much deeper than this. We are never going to know, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Epstein could possibly still be alive. And the reason why I say that is because Trump went a completely different direction. He's like swaying everybody to say, oh, it's a hoax. And maybe they don't want us to look over there. And I think it's much deeper than that. They know things. And that's why they're doing. I know that's a crazy thought.
Yeah,
I'm not the first person that thought that.
That's, you know, one of the things about government like plots like that, it seems like impossible to keep something like that a secret. Like, who would be keeping him alive, and how would they keep it a secret? And what would be the point? Who would want to have that connection to him?
Well, they can do that. We would never know because he might be giving up the goods. And if they're protecting him, then they would want everybody, including the people in our government that have done horrible things.
Yeah.
Possibly. Because Dan and Cash gave it away. There is something not right about it. And we know when he says it's a hoax, it's not, because we know Ghislaine Maxwell, she had a submarine license.
Did she
They were
really?
taking
I never heard
people
that.
back and
She had a
forth. Her whole
submarine.
case was.
What do you mean a submarine license? I never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, she had it. Go look it up. She had a submarine license. They were bringing people or whoever back and forth from those islands.
What kind of Jeffrey Epstein had a submarine?
Yeah, you can look it up. So
really? Like
when
what
you go
kind?
back
Hold on a second. Like a full size submarine, or like one that holds a couple of people?
Yeah, they had a submarine. You can go do your research. But
wow,
if you go back to Ghislaine Maxwell's case, she was proven to be doing what she was doing.
Oh yeah.
So she's sitting in there, and for them to keep saying that's a hoax, that's not a good thing, because do we really want her out? I mean,
well, wait a minute. Wait, who's saying what is a hoax? What do you mean when they say it's a hoax? What are you referencing?
When Trump keeps saying a hoax, I believe that he is trying to get us to get off of it, because there is something much deeper that he knows, and perhaps Kash Patel and Dan Bongino know, that we can never know. And my own opinion is that I think he might still be alive. We're never going to know that.
You know, there's sometimes. Okay, I was talking to a caller this morning about another issue. In President Trump's first term, when he was having the daily press conferences during the shutdowns, he almost said in one press conference, he almost said China did this. He almost said it. And it was live, and he stopped himself, and he says, "And I can't. If I say that, people are going to demand that I do something that I don't want to do," which means nuclear war, right? So what you're saying is that there's something that we don't know about, that the president and Kash Patel know, that it would be so devastating if it came out, that they're covering this up because of this secret that you think they should keep secret. Because you trust Trump. Well, is that what you're saying?
Because of other people in the government, and then what's happening is you're seeing the left saying, "Oh, they're not letting it out because they think Trump is in there." He's not in those files at all. If anything, he said what he said, a couple months ago, that he sat down with the FBI, right? And he was helping them as an informant.
Yeah.
But he's not. I think that our side is covering it up, because if he is alive, and he gave up a bunch of the people in government, then they would protect him.
Yeah.
And that's why I was looking at Kash Patel and Dan Bongino's reactions. I mean, Dan Bongino's been completely missing. So he might be seeing some really dark things, and I pray for them, because we're not going to see what they see. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. I think they're trying to turn us another direction, not because we're guilty, but that they have the goods on some people.
Okay.
Okay.
That seems rational. I don't know about the Epstein alive part, but the rest of what you said, I could accept that. I wouldn't. Well, that wouldn't surprise me.
We don't know. They can do anything they want. So
that's true.
I'm not taking that off the table, because you and I know there was a lot of strange things around how he died, with the people falling asleep, and
I don't buy any of that.
Throw him.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that story at all. No
I know
way.
It's a strange thing, but I do think that they might be protecting him in some weird way, and this is why they keep shoving it under the.
Listen,
we don't know.
You make some interesting. I'm going to look into that submarine thing, because I never heard that.
She has a license. They use the submarines to go back from island to island.
Oh my goodness, I will look into that. I'm curious how one gets a submarine license. I've never heard of such a thing. All right, appreciate the call.
Well, she's Ghislaine Maxwell. She had a lot of money. Look who she's tied to, her father.
That's true.
That's a whole nother.
That's true. You never know.
Yeah.
All right, hey, listen, take care. Appreciate the call. All right, we've had some pretty good calls so far. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas, who's been with us here on the show 2-3 years, and you can see his name and number up on the screen with me on the main live stream, Jupiter Joe. I have heard people talk about annuities my whole life, and I've heard a lot of guys that do shows like I do talking about annuities, but I never understood what they were. They didn't explain it. And when I met with Joe Thomas, I told him that. I said, I've heard people talk about, cause he had approached me, and they, about advertising with me. And I said, well, can you tell me about annuities? Because I've heard guys talk about them all my life, and I don't understand them. In less than 5 minutes, I understood everything I needed to know. And he's very good. And when he explained annuities to me, I said to myself, why is everyone not involved in these things? I don't understand. You know, with an annuity, and there's many different types of annuities for different things. And Joe Thomas can talk to you about that, because I'm not the financial advisor. He is, and he's the expert. I'm not. I'm just a layman. But, you know, that's that, and you are too, probably. That's why you want a financial advisor like Joe Thomas, who has over 30 years of experience. But with annuities, your money is never at risk. No matter what happens in the stock market, your money will never go down. And you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. And, you know, we have had listeners that have gone to Joe Thomas from every income bracket you can imagine, from hourly working people that work in retail stores to multimillionaires and everything in between. And I asked Joe Thomas, I said, when people come to you and they're a high net worth earner or they're a working class person, what are the different things that a working class person wants from an annuity as compared to a wealthy person? He said the same thing: income and revenue stream. He told me a story once. This blew my mind. A listener of mine went in to meet with him, and she was getting around retirement age. Well, she was over retirement age, but she was getting to the age where she wanted to retire. She worked at Publix. And that's tough work, man. You're on your feet all day, tough work. And with an annuity, she's in her retirement, in that monthly income stream, she's making more money each month retired than she was working. Is that amazing? Give Joe Thomas a call no matter where you're located in the United States. The consultation is always free. You can take advantage of the no-charge consultation over the phone, through Zoom, or if you're local, you want to meet with him in his office in Jupiter, you can do that. And, you know, in Jupiter, that's where Don Jr. and Eric Trump live, in Jupiter. So it's somebody's based in Jupiter. When it comes to money, they know what they're talking about. 561-743-0999, 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, no problem. Just go to his website. It's the easiest website to remember, jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Anthony, calling from Illinois.
Hey, Anthony. What's on your mind?
Well, I was actually going to bring something up, but you kind of, a few minutes ago, were talking about it with Trump's first term and the COVID lockdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, I'll just straight up say, Trump voter, 80-20 across the board, you know, what I like. Now, the 20%, most of that comes from the first term of COVID, and me and my friends who are all Republican always get in this debate about this one issue, which was COVID. And Trump always, prides himself on wanting to run the country like a business. Now, especially with that new documentary with Thank You, Fauci coming out, it seems to me that COVID and Trump and the shutdowns and everything was tossed to the side. Especially, I thought it was, if the Democrats wanted to nail Trump's ass to the wall, besides all those stupid, Russiagate and everything else.
Yeah.
I think COVID was the one thing that was one of the main reasons why he lost in 2020. I mean, if there was no COVID, Biden wouldn't have got in. I firmly believe that.
I agree with that, but not for the same reasons you do, probably. But the thing about COVID happened to stop Trump. It was an attack on the world, right, but it was a global attack that was done to stop him from getting reelected. That's what it was all about. Right. Which is pretty scary. That's how great of a man and president he is, that they went to those extremes to try to stop him from getting reelected. That's why I say that as MAGA people, we've got to stand loyal to him and follow his lead every step of the way, and don't criticize or disagree with him, because look at what they've done to try to stop him. They shot him, the lawfare. I mean, he must be doing something right if they go to such extremes to try to stop him, right?
But I think, across the board between Republicans and now the Democrats, especially with the Fauci thing,
mm-hmm,
they could have went after Trump with the COVID thing, which I was very surprised during any of the debates that was really left off the table. I've watched the Biden and the Harris, and I was expecting COVID to be a main.
Well, I think what you mean is, let me answer these lines. Are you back with me?
Yes.
Okay. You're talking about vaccinations, right? That's like.
Well,
that's
no,
like
that's a part of it. I mean, with the vaccinations, I'll go into that a little bit. I mean, now with the vaccine,
I don't want to go back into all that stuff. But the only time that I saw Trump, he did a tour during the Autopin years with Bill O'Reilly, and he was talking about the vaccines, and he got booed, and it was a MAGA audience. Remember that? It was here. I think it was here in South Florida, and then he never brought it up again. So you make a good point. What you're saying is that Kamala and Joe Biden, they could have used that against him to try to turn his base against him.
It would have hurt themselves. They would have had to fall on their own sword to nail his ass to the wall. And they didn't want to do it because then they would have to admit fault for keeping the country closed, for promoting the vaccine that wasn't a vaccine. And I think it would have been a closer race.
I think you make a good point. You make a good point. I think instead of all the lawfare and shooting him and all that stuff, that might have worked. Yeah. Hold on. Give me a second.
I just think 2020 would have been like, okay, we can repeat this.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, him proving them wrong.
I'll tell you one thing.
Else,
I was talking. I went out to lunch a couple weeks ago with a couple friends of mine that some of you that listen to the show know, but I'm not going to mention their names. And one of my friends, one of his buddies, gets that Ozempic. And I always, and you guys hear me, I've lost over 35 pounds with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and I talk about how there's no injections, no shots, and no pills. And when you see people with Ozempic, you can tell they don't look well. It eats their muscles. They look sick. They look like, and it's terrible. And they were telling me that this guy that got the Ozempic, that he was an anti-vax guy, right? And I told him, I said, it amazes me how many people they took a strong stand when it came to vaccinations because of whatever reason. But with this Ozempic, nobody ever heard of it, and then they're all lining up to get the shot the next day. You know what I mean? Why are so many people that are anti-vax?
The contradiction.
Yeah, and I've seen this with other people. Why are so many people that were anti-vax running out to get their Ozempic and those other shots for the weight loss with knowing nothing about it? And these are kind of new drugs. And he's like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Well, and you saw a bunch of sports players, the guy from the Bills who got tackled, or it was like a half-ass tackle, and he collapsed on the field.
Yeah.
Didn't want to give the reason why his heart just suddenly stopped. High school player, I mean, you have the myocarditis and everything else.
Well, I remember that incident. But in that instance, could it have been they were on steroids?
I think if they were on steroids and they had to have full blood work to obviously figure out what was going on.
You know what blew my mind? When Lance Armstrong finally got exposed. Remember Lance Armstrong, the bicyclist? And I saw him. He did an interview with Oprah. It was an hour, 2-hour interview. And this, I don't do drugs or anything, obviously. I don't have any prescription medications that I take. I do take an over-the-counter allergy medication, but I don't take anything, right? And so I don't know about drug tests. But Lance Armstrong, I learned this from Lance Armstrong. The reason he got away with it is the only things that show up is if they're specifically testing for it. I thought they did blood tests. And if you were taking anything, it showed up. No, they got to be testing for the specific thing that you're taking. So he just took things they didn't test for. And that blew my mind. I didn't know that. Well, hey, listen, welcome to the show, and call me again sometime.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right. Yeah, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, they hung up. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
So I don't know about.
Let me turn my radio down.
Yeah, please.
Good afternoon. How's it going?
It's going all right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Frank from West Virginia.
Hey, West Virginia.
I'm calling a point that I think should be made about the Epstein secret files or whatever. I think people forget about the victims. Maybe Pam Bondi and Trump, of course, are, maybe they're in the best interest of the victims, following the course that they're doing.
You make a good point. President Trump has saved more women and children from sexual molestation than any other man who's ever lived, right? He shut down the border, stopped all that sex trafficking and child trafficking there. In his first term, he shut down Backpage, which is where all the online prostitution worldwide was being advertised. He has done more to stop the sexual abuse of women and children, I think, than any man who's ever lived, by far. So you make a good point.
Well, that's all I called for. Thanks, Brian. Keep up the good work, buddy.
All right, take care. We've had, I got to tell you, those of you that have called me so far, these calls have been spectacular. This is not what I expected on the phones, because I have Epstein in the title, in the thumbnail on the video on YouTube. And do you notice we didn't get any calls from those lowlife people? That, every single person that's called so far, every single person who's called so far has been pretty reasonable, haven't they? And rational, whether or not you agreed with them or not. The calls you guys have made to me on the program so far, because I don't know what else is on, I don't know what's coming next, right? Because all my calls are screenless and unvetted. But these are real conversations. Sometimes those of you that listen to me regularly, you'll hear me lose my patience with people sometimes. It's because the conversations aren't worthy of a conversation a lot of times. And these are great conversations, even with people I didn't agree with some of these callers. You guys agree with that? I do. Well, I said it, so of course I agree with myself. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is John from Oklahoma.
Hey, John.
How you doing?
All right, John.
Cool, man. Hey, I got a question for you. Do you believe that MAGA is led by mainly Christians?
Most people in MAGA are Christian. Yes. It's not a Christian organization, but the president's a Christian and most people in it are, yes. It's a Christian country.
So do you... Well, I mean, it started to be in the 50s.
Well, no. It was a Christian country since... hold on. Did I lose you? It's been a Christian country since 1776.
Well, have you looked at what the founding fathers argued when they were arguing about it and throwing out the Constitution?
They said that our rights were given. You look at our founding, you look at the Declaration of Independence, you look at the Constitution of the United States, and they say our rights were given to us by the Creator, God.
Okay, but they did. They
weren't talking about the Islamic God or the sun God or something. They were talking about the God who sent Jesus to the earth.
Okay, but what about freedom of religion that they enshrined in our Constitution?
What they said is that the government should not establish a religion. Because one of the things that the American Revolution was about a lot of things. The United States is the oldest democracy in the world. Okay, I know we're a republic, but you know what I mean. And one of the issues of the day, we hear the big ones, right? No taxation without representation, which is true. But one of the other issues is England had the Church of England, and you were required, they had a state church, and you were required to be a member of the Church of England. So they didn't want to be required to, they didn't want to have a Church of the United States that everybody had to join. If you wanted to be Baptist, you could be Baptist. You wanted to be a Jew, you could be a Jew. Wanted to be a Lutheran or a Catholic, you could do that. That's what that was about.
Yeah.
It's not. It was freedom of religion, not freedom from religion, and they were still Christians. For the most part, I mean.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I disagree that the current administration is Christian. They're doing very unchristian things.
What has President Trump done that's unchristian?
If they were Christians,
what has he done that's unchristian?
Well, I mean, he's causing lots of suffering in lots of people.
President Trump is
cutting food.
Whose suffering is he causing?
Yeah, he's cutting food through U.S. He already did all that. There's a famine that we are causing right now because of that.
No, you're talking about hold on. You're talking about the defunding of USAID?
Yeah.
USAID is a CIA front organization, and they were using that to front all of their crap around the world and in the United States. It's a front group. It's not about humanitarian aid or anything else. It was like that. That's how the secret government operated. People? What's that?
Did they feed people?
Maybe, I don't know.
So all the food that went to waste overseas is real, right?
What's that?
All the food that was overseas and is sitting and waiting to be delivered went to waste.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know about all the food that went to waste.
I know. I've heard people like you say that. But if President Trump, now this is just my opinion, okay? I could be wrong about this, but the mainstream media hate Trump like nobody else, right? If there were people starving,
of course, because he hates them.
If there were people starving because of President Trump and there was food that was spoiling and rotting on docks and in warehouses, I think MSNBC and CNN would go there and show it to us. Show us the starving people and the rotting food.
They did, though. This was months ago now at this point.
I didn't see it. No, it'd be all over the news. We wouldn't have to wonder about it. We would just know.
Back in July, let's see, the Atlantic in July.
The Atlantic? That's a fringe. The Atlantic is a fringe, snooty magazine online that nobody reads. It's like worse than the Weekly Standard. That's a snooty thing. No, that's a...
Do you want me to go to Fox News then? Where do you want me to go
I said CNN, MSNBC, they'd be all over it.
Okay.
But it's not the responsibility of the United States to feed the world.
Well, I agree with that, but if you're Christian, you probably want to feed the world, right?
Well, we don't want anyone to go hungry. Well, so let me ask you, what countries were the people starving in to death because of President Trump?
I don't have that information right in front of me.
This is your topic. You brought up the story. You made a terrible charge. You said a terrible thing. You said that he's not behaving as a Christian because there were people starving in other countries because of him. You don't know what country? Then how do you know? If you don't know where, then how do you know people are starving?
It's all over the world, man.
No. If you don't know,
all over the world.
If you don't know the country that he made people starve to death in, how do you know it happened?
It's in Sudan. Let's see where else.
Now you're just throwing out names. When I pressed you on, you're just throwing out names of countries now. No, hold on. When I mentioned it to you a moment ago, you didn't know any. Now you're just throwing out names. Okay, so say Sudan.
Yeah, because I'm like actively reading about it.
Oh, okay. So we got ChatGPT open.
Like I'm trying
am I talking to a person or to ChatGPT?
Hey, I'm a person.
Who's using ChatGPT? So let me ask you, what did you do to feed these hungry people in Sudan that you're so concerned about?
Man, I donate to change.org. Like
Change.org. What's that? That sounds like some Obama thing.
No, it's a nonprofit, man.
It's a nonprofit, man.
They donate. Yeah, they donate food. Mm-hmm. Like they do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But listen, my point is that these people are not Christians.
Of course,
if they were Christians.
Of course, he's. Are you a Christian?
Are you a Christian?
Absolutely.
I am a Christian.
Yeah. What makes someone a Christian? What makes someone a Christian?
They follow Christ and they live like he did and act like he did and teach like he did.
But what did Jesus? Listen, I'm not up to date on my Bible as much as I should be. Okay, that's why I don't talk about. I am a very strong believer. Okay, very much so. But I don't know my Bible. I don't read the Bible like I should, and that's why I don't talk about it so much. But I am familiar with some things. You're pretty judgy. You're pretty judgmental about who's a Christian, who's not a Christian by your standard. What did Jesus tell us about judging other people like you're doing, Mr. Christian?
I'm not judging. I'm saying.
No, sure you are. You said that President Trump, by your standard, whoever the heck you think you are to have standards on such things, is not a Christian.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I did.
What about those never Trumpers that shot him in Butler? Are they? Who's a better Christian, him or them?
is that even like fact, or is that like
sure?
what,
Who do you think?
what even happened?
Who do you think
there?
shot? Who do you think tried to kill him?
What's the conspiracy theory behind all that?
Who do you think tried to kill President Trump?
What's the conspiracy theory?
The same people that they killed
Dude,
Charlie Kirk.
Know.
You don't know. Ask
I don't know.
Ask ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT. Like you're doing
I'm
with
not in
everything
ChatGPT, man.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to. I've talked about it a lot. I'm not going to go through. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Call me again sometime. All right? Take care. Oh, my goodness. I'm talking to AI platforms. Oh, my goodness. If you're new to my program, make sure that you subscribe. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Take care. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.